Go right ahead.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for spending your Sunday evening with me, the crazy woman who's dressed in a robe and pink tasseled earrings and messed up hair. So I'm going to explain kind of the get up and who I am and everything like that, because I think I'm friends with almost all of you on Facebook, but you might not know 100% about me. First, I'm going to take these out because those are really, really heavy. So my name is Sarah Brinkley, and I'm coming to you live from my basement because I don't want to wake up my children. And I am a special education teacher in Kansas. And I'm going into my second year with this whole Plexus gig. And I'm really excited to talk to you tonight about growth mindset. Now, about the gig, about the ensemble. So it's apparently my thing to during our 7-day challenges. Whenever I'm always the day 4 person, and so when it's my day, everybody gets really excited because I'm going to cook breakfast while I do my live video in the morning. And so I've decided to take that into a new direction, and I've actually decided to rebrand my Instagram, like Nicole rebranded her Instagram. So I'm rebranding my Instagram, and so if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Plexus Pajama Mama. So all my stuff is going to be very like this, but like, you can do it, if I can do it, if I can cook and maintain a family and all that. So anyway, that's like, I'm doing an Instagram, yay! So that's all that's about. So anyway, okay, so I'm going to start off with growth mindset, which is a really hot topic in education right now. And if you're an educator like me, I'm almost positive that if you haven't had professional development on it yet, you will sometime in the future, because like I said, it's a really hot topic. So I'm going to read off 10 statements real quick. If you have a piece of paper, or if you have like your iPhone open or whatever, and you want to like write down 1 through 10 real quick. And then when I say the statements, if it creates a feeling within you, a strong feeling, a strong reaction, make a check mark next to that number. So I'll give just a couple seconds for people to gather some materials, and then I'll get started. Excuse me, my nose is super runny. Okay, so I'm going to start with number 1. So this is statement number 1.
Sorry. How do I get muted?
Let me see.
I'll mute you. I'll go ahead and mute you.
Logan's got.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so here's statement number 1. And if you feel this, and no one's going to know how you answer, so I mean, be honest with yourself, because that's what this is about. So statement number 1. There are just some things I'll never be good at. Again, there are just some things I'll never be good at. Statement number 2. When I make a mistake, I try to learn from it. Again, when I make a mistake, I try to learn from it. Number 3. When others do better than me, I feel threatened. Again, when others do better than me, I feel threatened. Number 4, I enjoy getting out of my comfort zone, which that should be interesting for a lot of us, especially those of us who are introverts. So again, I enjoy getting out of my comfort zone. 5, when I show others I'm smart or talented, I feel successful. When I show others I'm smart or talented, I feel successful. Number 6, I feel inspired by the success of others. Number 7, I feel good when I can do something others can't. 8, it's possible to change how intelligent you are. 9, You shouldn't have to try to be smart. You just are, or you aren't. And 10, I enjoy taking on a new challenge or task with which I am unfamiliar. That's all 10. So take a look at your checks, or, just go back through your head and look to see if you have more odd number checks or more even number checks, or if you have an even distribution of both. And I'll explain what this means. So it's kind of like one of those cosmopolitan quizzes where, like, if you have odd numbers, you're this kind of thing, or if you have even numbers, you're this kind of thing. So here we go. And I just referenced cosmopolitan and not saying Cosmos. So that tells you how old I am. So anyway, so in this kind of assessment, the odd numbered statements, so 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, indicate a fixed mindset. And I'll explain what that means in a second. Where the even numbered statements indicate a growth mindset. So if you have more odds than you do evens, right now your brain is in a fixed mindset position. Where if you have more evens, your brain is more in the growth mindset position. So look at that real quick, and now let me explain what those things are. Let me get to my notes. Hold on 1 second. So in growth mindset, why growth mindset is so important. And I'm taking this from a book on growth mindset from a group of people who did a ton of research on the subject. So I'm not just pulling this out of my ear. They found that people react to challenges in 2 different ways. Challenges, obstacles, effort, criticism, and success of others in 2 different ways. So in challenges, if you have fixed mindset, challenges are avoided in order to maintain your own personal intelligence. While in a growth mindset, challenges are embraced and you get a desire to learn from those challenges. For obstacles, in a fixed mindset pattern, you tend to give up and reaching a setback and you're like, I'm done. That's it. Where in a growth mindset, you have perseverance in the face of an obstacle, and you know that there's going to be setbacks, but you work to get through it. Effort within a fixed mindset, having to put in effort within yourself, is you view that as a negative, where you shouldn't have to put forth a lot of effort. If you have to try, you're not smart, you're not talented, you can't do it, etc. Whereas in a growth mindset, hard work, putting forth effort, that's what gets you to achievement and success. And I actually think that Plexus does a really good job of showing the work that you have to do in order to get where you need to go. So I think that our business does a really good job of that. Criticism. Now, this is what is so important with growth mindset in this business, because we're going to deal with a lot of criticism as business builders, because you'll either get the people who are flat out, nope, I don't want it, I don't want anything to do with you, or you get the people who ignore you or anything like that. So in a fixed mindset with criticism, when you receive negative feedback in any way, if it's constructive or whatever, you just shut it out. You ignore it and don't pay any attention to it. Where in a growth mindset, any criticism you get, you view it as an opportunity to learn. You view it as an opportunity to grow, to change, to figure out how to tweak something, to make it a little bit different, to make it more successful for you in the long run. And finally, the success of others. In a fixed mindset, if somebody else is doing well, that's a threat, because you're not the person who's being pushed forward. Somebody else is standing in your way. Where with growth mindset, you look at the people around you, and other people's success is viewed as inspiration, which is another thing that I think our team does so phenomenally well with. We build each other up and we celebrate each other's even minor achievements. I know we do really, really well when somebody ranks up, but even lately, you know, when somebody signs their first ambassador or first preferred customer or whatever, you know, we really try to push those successes to really get each other going, which I think is absolutely fantastic in this. So what the heck does all this mean? So let me get to the research part of this and how our brain I love this kind of stuff. This is gosh, when Jen was with us in St. Louis a few months ago, she talked about what kind of personalities you were, and this is my total green coming out right now. This is my nerd geek science-y moment. So what scientists have found is that the brain, if you're familiar with philosophy and things like that, and early childhood and things like that, that there were people who thought that, you know, the child's brain was a clean slate and you could write whatever you wanted on it, and it's sort of like that. And then there were some people who were like, well, a brain is a brain is a brain. It can't ever change. Well, scientists have done research on children who were deaf, which is important to me because I'm deaf, and they've noticed that children who are actually born without hearing, their brain functions, the functions inside their brain actually change, so that way the parts of their brain that are typically used for hearing actually go on to help their other senses. So the brain is this plastic moldable, and I don't mean plastic like plastic, but like it's moldable, it's shapeable. And so you can actually change the way that your brain thinks. And so if you're a more negative person, you can actually bring yourself into this more positive way of thinking. And it takes a whole lot of work and a whole lot of effort, and it sucks. It sucks to try to change yourself into a positive mindset all the time. And you don't do it all the time, and that's okay. But it can be done. Oh, hello. Hi, Karen. I'm looking at your screen.
I don't know what I did. I'm sorry. Continue on.
Okay.
I didn't mean to do that.
Okay. All right. Is everybody seeing Karen's screen?
There we go.
There we go. Now I'm back. Hi. Okay. that was exciting. Okay. So, brain science in this sort of thing matters because I think when we look at somebody like a new ambassador or a brand new customer or something like that, we need to, I feel like, and I'm trying to do this with my own team, and look at every single opportunity as some sort of growth. Like I feel like in our team, we preach on, and maybe preach is the wrong word, but we push that first post, those first outreaches, and then we kind of back off, and we're working to change that. And, you know, find the ways to grow and change and support even within themselves. So that way, because I struggled with this a lot, starting out in this business, being scared and terrified of what people were going to think of me. And I think a lot of us felt that way. I mean, I can see a few of you. I mean, am I the only one that was freaked out by that first post? Okay, good. Yay! I'm not the only one who was scared. Woohoo! But anyway, to really make sure that if you get people who defriend you, who unfriend you, it's not the end of the world, because you'll get other people to move it back in. Because I know that there's going to be people who are really turned off by that. And I'm noticing right now I talk a lot with my hands, so I'm going to put my hands down. So anyway, so that plasticity and that changing the brain. So does anybody have, I know I talk fast. I don't want to take up a lot of your guys' time because it was Sunday night. I'm also running on not a lot of sleep. So does anybody have any questions so far. I know I'm talking very sciencey. Anybody? It's okay if you don't. Okay, then I'll keep going. I'll keep going till I have to stop. Okay. So, oh shoot, what was my next thing? I really am prepared. Okay. And I feel like a big thing with this growth mindset that we can really apply is, especially in our 7-day challenges that we do as a large team and even with individual customers, is SLIM itself. Because so many of us, I mean, hands up if you were a skeptic. I know that, like, yes, like all of us were skeptics, and how many people that we might lose because, and I think I talked about this in February, about growth mindset in February. I did just a very, very brief post, but, and Ruth's husband had a really great speaker come to their school and did a presentation called The Power of Yet. If you haven't looked up that song on Spotify yet, it's so great. And follow this guy on Twitter, CJ Lukey. He's awesome. I don't think I said his name right, but it's really it's awesome. But anyway, how we can get potential customers to look at a more broad scale because we give them so much information during that 7 days, and to get them to see beyond that. Well, I'm not feeling anything yet. I'm not sleeping better. I'm not craving pop less. And I feel like we really need to emphasize that yet. That's that growth mindset piece that I think that we're missing and that we're losing potential customers with, because they get through that 7 days and then they see all of these testimonies and people who are, especially in that crazy March group where everybody was just super lit and into it all the time. But if you're one of those people who's not feeling it and you're not posting every day with your water and your pink drink and you're like, everything's awesome, then you're going to get super discouraged, because you're going to be in that fixed mindset piece where this person's success isn't my success. And so I shut down, which I think is something really great that we're doing as a team, where we're not really stifling what people can post, but we're containing it a bit. But I think if we really focus on that, this is what you will, this is what you can, this is what you will, more projective, this is what will happen, rather than, I don't quite know what I'm saying.
Immediate gratification.
Yes, that instant gratification during that 7 weeks, because as we all know, it takes that 60 days of consistency, and it is that waiting game. So with that being said, I don't want this just to be me like verbally vomiting at you guys. So, I mean, does anybody have any ideas on how we can, put some of these ideas into place, either with your own team or us as a larger team or anything like that? I mean, here, take some think time, come back as the group and share, and I'll listen. Whoever's laughing, I am trying to be funny. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Are you talking about trying to come up with ways or ideas to take away that feeling of instant gratification of them like quitting or leaving?
I feel like if I were a person who were in a 7-day challenge and I saw all of that, like if it were day 3 and somebody was like, I'm sleeping great, I don't drink Red Bull anymore, and I'm like a 4 Diet Coke a day person and I still need Diet Coke, I feel like that would be really crappy for me as a person.
Yeah. Well, and I could tell in March there was it was actually one of my girls who I had been like, following in and checking in, and she was kind of silent. And then I saw her post about she was feeling terrible. And then there were a couple of other people that commented and latched on, and like that was like their common denominator. So I think if, that's even a part of our message to say, you don't want to scare them off, because I know with some people, if you say they might feel uncomfortable, they're not going to do it if they have if it's a Monday or if they have a big work week. So if we could find the words or the message in a way of where it's going to let them know, hey, this you might be here, without terrifying them, thinking that they can't take it.
Well, I think that it's important to really focus on the fact that bigger picture, that when you have a candida overgrowth, and you have leaky gut, or you have unstable blood sugars, or you have, whatever are three big things, our gut health, blood sugar stabilization, and what's the third one?
Inflammation.
Yeah. Those present differently in each person. Mm-hmm. So you have somebody that from those same things is experiencing an autoimmune reaction. You have those same things. Somebody is experiencing severe GI issues like I was. You have somebody that's experiencing high cholesterol like you are. So the root cause of these, our root symptoms are the same, but they're showing up differently in each person. So the rate and the symptom response is going to be different for each person as well. So I think kind of maybe jumping to that bigger picture and saying, I do think that putting those three little letters, that yet at the end of our statements is super important, because you might not be sleeping better yet, but you can't deny that when you get your blood sugar stabilized, when you get the inflammation down, when you get your gut better, that your body's going to respond. It just is different for every person as to how quickly or what things are going to be improving first. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't look the same. I mean, no two people's journey is going to look exactly the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
From the beginning to the healing to this journey looks completely different.
Yeah, and I think that could even be a part of our, welcome video, like even, I don't know, or even a separate thing like the power of yet. You know what I mean? Like, or I don't know. I think I can kind of see that bringing attention and kind of a new revamped focus for people to say, okay, well, because that's what we can say. Like, you might experience this, this, but I think that if we rephrase it as that, as the yet, then I think that's great, because it'll give them something to look forward to.
Can I mention that, so because I'm all smart in school and stuff again now, primary food based on your relationships and emotions and things of that nature also has to do with the health that's happening internally, gut and whatnot. And so if people are still feeling unwell, it's not necessarily all autoimmune related. It could be that everything on the outside is also causing illness and so forth. And we are all kind of in the health coach realm, because we are coaching people on their health, obviously. But to even touch on, why are you still feeling unwell? It could be family life or work life or relationship life or whatever, that they are still feeling unwell, not necessarily the product itself isn't doing anything. So for me, sorry, go on.
No, it's okay, Karen, finish.
For me now, with what I'm learning too, is mindset, as this conversation is about, is more than an autoimmune issue, right? It goes way deeper than that, and what we have is huge, but it's also just kind of, we always call it a tool. It's a great tool to start people to feel better, but then I think we also have a bit of an obligation to make sure that their mindset in their whole life is better. And when I signed up for Plexus, not once did I think that would be something I would ever be looking into, but it definitely has. Plexus has developed my mind growth as well, because I've had the support with everybody here and more. And I think we're kind of unwritten obligation to make sure that everything else is good in people's lives as well too, not just the product. Like it goes together in my mind, in my thought process with it, in my experience.
Can I interject one thing? Because I totally think you're hitting on something there, Karen. I really, one of the things that I've been talking about in some business coaching that I've been doing is coming at some of these things from a more life angle. So for like example, doing like a soda busters challenge, or saying like, hey, this is what soda's actually doing. Like, let's take 7 days and get off of soft drinks. Or we could do a mindset challenge, or we could do something that's not obviously plexus, but something like I'm just giving total examples here, but like there was something that was talking, it was called the Gut Glam event. And a friend of ours did that, and it was talking about what does it look like to your overall like appearance when you're deficient in magnesium. What parts of your body are affected? Your skin, different things like that. So I love, to your point, Karen, that this is a piece of the puzzle, that our products work. That's a no-brainer. But the rest of it, what does it look like when you pull it all together? So just something to think about.
Well, and I mean, to piggyback on all of this, I think that's something else to bring up, when we're talking to customers, ambassadors, and everything like that. If somebody's not consistently reordering, when we're reaching back with them, and if their response is, well, it's just not working, we can, that's a great way to say, well, what's been going on? Have you been having a lot of stress in your life? I've been noticing your Facebook posts have been changing a lot lately. And that's that other thing with growth mindset, is for educators in growth mindset, we are always encouraged to make positive, affirming relationships with our students beyond the classroom walls. So you take interest in what your students do. You take interest in if they're in sports, if they're in dance, if they're in music, if they do taekwondo, if they do whatever, and you make it about the student. And that's what we also do here as Plexus ambassadors. We try to, we know that if we're trying to get somebody to try the products, we cannot come at them if we friend them on Facebook and then immediately the next day just go, hey, have you seen my Plexus post? Want to be in a 7-day challenge? We have to make it about them. And that's something else. And I think that's absolutely right with what Karen was saying and with what Ruth was saying. We have to get to what is really going on, what's underlying, why aren't they reordering? Has there been stress? Is there financial difficulty? Is there, are the products not working because they went back to eating McDonald's 3 times a week? Of course the products aren't going to work if you've been slamming back Big Macs. Duh. So, that's time to open up those conversations and everything like that, which I think that's smart of us to do anyway, because we're all good people and we like talking to people. We're people who need people. And I talk in song lyrics.
I was going to say, I think that those conversations really work. I had someone who didn't see their email that their renewal was going to come back out, and they got charged, and they messaged me to see if they could get a refund because they hadn't ordered in almost a year. And then I just started asking, I'm like, can we talk about really quickly about what it was that brought you to these products? And have you found that you are feeling better than what it was? And then she got to thinking, she's like, and I said, have you heard of Vital Biome? I don't think that you had become familiar with that because you weren't active. So just starting those conversations, well, it turned out she just made an order of 3 products. So and that's somebody who had been inactive. So it's just the old me, like back in, 3 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll absolutely call customer service and help you get your refund. Like that, there wouldn't have been a question or a conversation happening. And I think that the more depth that we have, the more growth that we have with the people that have trusted us, it makes a huge difference. And it's not like we're not trying to pin them in a corner. We're just trying to troubleshoot. I think troubleshooting, at the end of the day, if they don't want it, they're not going to want it. But if they're open to thinking like, oh, I didn't do this, or I didn't drink my water, or I didn't, then they might just jump back on board with you and give something else a try that they haven't.
Sure. So I know I didn't want to, I've been talking and we've all been having conversations for a half hour. And I mean, to be really, really frank, you guys, I'm working on 5 hours of sleep. If you weren't following my incessant Facebook rant, I was at the Kansas State House until 12:45 this morning because our legislature was garbage. So that's another reason why I look the way I do. So
How many hours were you there?
I was there for, let's see, we got there at 4:30.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Wow.
And they started filibustering at 4 and they went until 12:02.
Wow.
It was horrible. But anyway. So I mean, does anybody have any questions or anything like that? I can post some stuff on our group page about some resources and things like that because I have some.
Yeah, I think we've started some really important conversations, and I think we've really touched on some things that are really forward thinking. I mean, honestly, bringing the education. I mean, first and foremost, we're educating people.
Yeah.
So I think that this is really, really valuable to be talking about growth mindset. It is a hot topic, but for us to bring that into this realm, I think is really valuable and very important. So thank you, Sarah. You're amazing.
Love this. I loved the quiz. I thought that quiz was really enlightening. I think that it's, if that's something that you want to post even below the recording or on the, the page, I think that's great.
Sure.
It's really eye-opening.
Sure. Well, and I'll finish because they talked about taking care of yourself. And so I will just quote the great RuPaul and who I love and just say, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else?
I love it.
Thank you. I love her, him, whatever.
Thanks so much, Sarah. We really
Thank you guys.
You. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm going to go to bed now. Okay, bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you, Sarah.